Hey, what's up guys? My name is Albert Johnny Reyes, your future electrical engineer. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make an extension cord. To start, let us first know what is an extension cord. Well, basically, extension cord is a span of flexible electrical power cable with a plug on one end and multiple sockets on the other end. It comes in several varieties to suit the needs of the user. One of the most important considerations is the power handling capacity to make it safe and functional. Now that we know what is an extension cord, let's hop in and create one. First, we must gather the necessary tools and materials needed and then sort them out. Here we have tweezers, tweezer, singular, and a soldering iron, soldering lead, flux, some plastic gloves, your screwdrivers, a multi-tester, electrician's knife or a cutter, wire stripper, lineman's plier, a long nose plier, and those are the tools needed for this construction. So the materials needed in creating this extension cord are a flat cord, a male plug, and convenience outlet. So to start, we must open up our convenience outlet using our screwdrivers. Make sure that your screws are secured to avoid loss of screws, basically. Now that we open up our convenience outlet, we can see that which is the direction where the flat cord goes. Well, in this type of convenience outlet is located here at this end, so our flat cord should be placed here. Let us set this aside. So the next step is to connect our male plug and our flat cord together. First, let's gonna open up our male plug using our screwdriver. This type of male plug has screws on this side because it will make sure that your flat cord or any kind of cord you're gonna use will be tightly secured. So let's gonna open up this. Well, as you can see, it has three plugins. We have either positive or negative positive, and a grounded part. But since we have only have a flat cord that has two, so our wires should be placed either of these two. We can remove our grounded socket. So we were gonna remove it because we don't need it. Make sure that this part here is safe and kept for future use if you're gonna use it. So we already opened our male plug. Next is to split and strip these wires so that the copper wires should be exposed. This type of flat cord is a stranded wire, so you should be careful in dealing with this, because if you accidentally cut a single strand, there will be complications during the transmission of power from your source to this extension cord. Take note: measure twice, cut once. Again, measure twice, cut once. So in order to do that, first, your flat cord should be inserted on your male plug. After that, estimate where the copper wires should be placed on your male plug. So let's just say about an inch. So grab a pen and mark where you should cut the insulation of the flat cord. So about 1 inch. Let's just say around here. Now, let's grab our electrician's knife or cutter, if you presume that is your term, and split these two cords from each other. Be careful in splitting, because you may cut yourself. So here's the splitted cords. Now we're gonna use our wire stripper. If you don't have a wire stripper, you can use your electrician's knife or a lineman's plier, but it has the risk that you may cut a strand in using this. So be sure you are pretty safe and careful if you're gonna use the alternative. So let's trim our wires. The wire stripper has different types of diameters where the wires should be placed, so be sure to accurately use the correct diameter so that upon stripping the wires, you don't mess it up. So we have our wire there, so let's start there. You don't need to go along the way, because it has the tendency that if you're going to go along the way, you may cut a strand. So you hold the copper wire here and the other hand here and just carefully pull it out. After you pulled out, these stranded wires are not fixed together. So in order for this to be secured and safe, we must twist it in any direction so that it could be a one solid wire. Now we move on to the next. Make sure there are even. Get your male plug and insert here. Make sure that your wires are tightly secured. So in this male plug, you need to insert your wires here at this part in this Phillips screw and tighten it so that there will be no risk of electric shock or any kind of risk. So first we're gonna loosen it up enough to let our wires be secured. I'm sorry, it is this gold part, not the silver part, because this is where the wires should be. The plug-in will be placed. So for your convenience, you will remove it totally. Here's why. To tightly secure it, you need to wrap around the wire around this screw here. So that's gonna loosen this up. Now grab your long nose pliers and pull out the tip of your wire and pull it so that it will be placed tightly onto the socket. Okay, let's move on to the next. After that's done, you can now place these outlets back to their original place. Use a sharp tip of any kind and gently push it on the Phillips screw so that it will be tightly secured. Okay, so once it's done, let us grab our soldering iron and heat it up. Be cautious about this because it's hot. You're wondering why I'm using soldering iron, using soldering lead on an extension cord. It is because you're using a stranded wire, and then stranded wires has tendency that there is a rogue wire. Even though you're tightly secured it, there's a tendency that there's a rogue wire that will pop out, and then it will jump into the other part of the socket and then causes a explosion. Kaboom! So better be safe than sorry. To check that it is hot enough, put a little flux on the tip until it smokes. Okay, so it smokes, so it is hot enough. We're gonna need a flux because it is a cleaning agent where our lead will be easily melted, and then there's no unwanted unnecessary stuff that's gonna hinder the melting of the lead. So in place your flux here on where you're gonna place the soldering lead. And just melt away the flux on the area. Important note, this is hot, so you're gonna be cautious about this. After that, grab your soldering lead and place the soldering lead where we're gonna melt it on the copper wire. You should have a stand in dealing this stuff, but I don't have the luxury of it, so mano. So here's the finished part. It's safely secured. Once it's done, secure your cord here. This part, you're going to tighten this up. Okay, so that's the finished product on this end. So let's move on to this part. Don't forget the cap. So grab the other end and again measure twice, cut once. We're gonna place our wires here on this part because this is where the lock of the convenience outlet is placed, where it is purposely going to lock the wire so that it won't slip through. So again, measure twice, cut once. We're going to leave about let's just say around 2 centimeters from the placement from the Phillips screw we're going to place our wires, and measure where should we cut our wires. So it will be around, let's just say around here, because our wires cannot go through here in the spring. It's because it's too thick. So yeah. grab your electrician's knife, split it into two. Again, measure. Be cautious of your surrounding because you still have a hot soldering iron. Grab your wire stripper. Measure again. So it should be around this. You're gonna give some allowance so that it will be tightly secured around the Phillips screw. Yeah. So grab your long nose pliers. Crack this up. Okay, it's done. Unscrew. Place your wires. So, as you can see, I tightened it already because if you won't tighten it, it will be slipping through and you have the tendency to lose an amount of measurement. So yeah, that's what I did. Now we're going to unscrew. Now this is where the part you're going to use the tweezers. Gently place your wires here. Unscrew this first. Not all the way. So place your wire here. Make sure it will be bent properly onto the Phillips screw. Remember, all strand matters. So all the strands should be placed and secure it. Not all the way, because you're going to push first some stranded wires onto the Phillips screw. Gently tighten it a little bit and move on to the next. So it should be like this, and the last part will be soldering them together. Without any kind of stranded wires are placed. So again, double check the wires should be placed exactly where they were. Add some flux. Unplug your soldering iron because you're done. So it should be like this. Yep. Still hot. And secure it. The last part is to test it out. So here's my multi-tester. Placed it onto AC because extension cords are alternating currents. So upon testing your extension cord, it should be directly from the source. It shouldn't be from another extension cord because that is against the rules. basically. It's basic knowledge. So here's I have my source here, so I'm just gonna plug this. So the extension wire is already live. Now we're going to need this. The reason why I'm going to use plastic gloves, because it is an insulation that protects your hands from electrocuting yourself, because you are now testing a live outlet, and then you should practice safe procedures. Okay, in the first outlet we got 210 volts. Switch it up. And 228 volts. So our extension cord is working. Okay, so that ends our video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something from it, and see you in the next vid, if there's another vid. Yeah. Peace out.